If you're over 65 like I am, and the idea of flying feels more stressful than it used to be, you're not imagining things. Travel didn't suddenly become complicated because you forgot how to do it. It became complicated because the rules keep changing. Airlines change policies, airports change procedures, and no one sits you down and explains exactly what's new, what's coming, and what you should expect. That's exactly why I made this video, just for you. This is the second and final part of the series. In the first video, I covered the first 6 travel rule changes every senior needs to know about. And in this particular video, I'm going to walk you through the remaining updates that could trip you up in 2026, starting from number 7. And more importantly, I'll be showing you how to handle them calmly and confidently, so travel doesn't feel intimidating anymore. So stay with me until the end, because I'm about to share the rest of what you need to know so that you can travel smarter, safer, and with a lot less stress. Now let's start with rule number 7, picking up from number 6 in the other video. Is traveling with temperature-sensitive medications safely? And medical bags and in-flight storage. That's what we're going to talk about. If you travel with insulin or any medication that really hates heat, you've probably sat on a plane thinking, well, is this getting too warm right now? Based on current U.S. rules and how airlines handle medical items, a small dedicated medical bag is usually treated separately from your normal carry-on allowance. The trick is to keep it honest and obvious. Use a small soft cooler or a tidy medical pouch and a simple tag that says medical or insulin. This works most reliably on U.S. airlines. For international carriers, though, it's still smart to double check their policy ahead of time. Now, the part everyone with insulin worries about is keeping it cool while you're in the air. Cabin air can get warm sometimes, and overhead bins are often even hotter, especially on long flights. For insulin and other temperature-sensitive medications, that's not ideal. So always bring a small insulated bag to keep your medications cool yourself. Don't rely on the airlines. On some flights, the flight crew may be able to help by tucking your labeled medical pouch in a cooler galley spot as a courtesy. They don't have to do it. The best moment to ask for that is as you board, not halfway through the flight. Walk on with your small labeled cooler in your hand, smile at the flight attendant and say, I'm traveling with temperature-sensitive medication. Could you please keep it in the crew cooler for me so that it stays safe? And you know what? A small, clearly labeled pouch makes it so much easier for them to say yes. It also makes it easier for them to remember to bring it back to you before the plane lands. All right? Knowing your medications are in a controlled, cooler spot instead of the baking in an overhead bin takes a huge weight off your shoulders and off your mind. You can sit down, breathe, focus on your trip, and enjoy your trip, and just remind the crew about your bag an hour or so before you land. If this is already changing how you think about airports, don't click away yet. The next rules are where we protect your seat, your space, and your energy while you're on the plane. Rule number 8, requesting an accessible seat. Aisle or bulkhead seats, they are great for mobility needs, but a tight middle seat at 25 is just annoying. At 65, with bad knees or a replaced hip, that can knock you out for days. On many U.S. airlines, under the Department of Transportation rules, an aisle or bulkhead seat isn't always just a nice upgrade for seniors. It can actually count as an accessibility need. If you struggle to stand up, you need quick access to the restroom, you use a cane or walker, or have serious joint pain, you're not asking for luxury. You're asking for a seat that your body can safely manage. And that's all that is. What really changes things is how you frame the request. Instead of sounding like you're demanding it or you're begging for a favor, you can calmly put it in a language that the system is built around. This is what you would say. Hi, I need an accessibility seat for mobility and comfort under the DOT policy. And if that's not possible, may I speak with the compliant resolution official? These two sentences do the heavy lifting for you. It tells the airline that this is about accessibility, not just I'd like a nicer spot. And it reminds them that there's a specific person, the compliant resolution official, or CRO, whose job it is to handle disability and access issues, and that you know about those policies. U.S. airlines are expected to have someone in that role. This won't magically drop you into the business class, but it can make a difference between a painful back row middle seat and a more reasonable aisle or bulkhead seat, where you can actually stand, stretch, and get to the restroom without turning the cabin into an obstacle course. On foreign airlines, this is often similar, though the details can change a little bit. So think of this line or this sentence as strongest on flights that follow U.S. DOT rules. If just knowing that you can ask for a seat that respects your joints feels like a small victory, rule number 9 takes that same idea into the terminal itself. So rule number 9 is using quiet rooms and accessibility lounges in the terminal. Have you ever walked into a busy terminal and felt that your whole body tightened up from the noise and all that chaos around you? More big hub airports like Atlanta and Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas, are starting to add quiet rooms, sensory rooms, or accessibility lounges. Sounds like different labels, but it's the same idea. Softer lighting, less noise, and seats that you can actually relax in. They were first designed from neurodivergent travelers. But what many airports now let anyone who needs a calmer space use them, including seniors like us. You usually won't see a big flashing sign for these, no? So of course, you're going to have to ask. At an information desk, check-in counter, or departure gate, you can say something like this: where is the accessibility lounge or quiet waiting area? If you're already noted in the system as needing wheelchair assistance or assisted boarding, you can take it a bit further and ask by saying this: I'm under assisted boarding. Am I eligible for a quiet or accessibility waiting area? Sometimes the answer will be no, and that's okay. But when the answer is yes, everything changes. Instead of spending a flight delay sitting on a hard plastic chair under a loudspeaker, you're in a calmer corner where your heart rate can come down and your body can reset before the next flight. All right? I hope that's sinking in, and I hope that's giving you some ideas. Now, if you've ever sat at a departure gate thinking, this is just too much for me today, that's your cue to try rule number 9 on your next trip. And if these tips are helping you breathe a little easier about the airport, hit that like button, please, and the subscribe button so that you don't miss the next video. Now, rule number 10 is a direct reality check for your wallet, and how one tiny missing star on your ID can stop your whole trip at the very first checkpoint. I know all of this sounds overwhelming. I really do. I know. It's a lot of new stuff in the world to consider that used to be so much simpler back then. And that is exactly why I created this True Travel Treasures channel, and specifically my ebook titled The Senior Travel Blueprint. I saw so many seniors who wanted to see the world, but were being held back by fear and technology. Fear of the airport, fear of their medication being taken, or fear of just not being able to keep up with the advancing technology. My $8.99 ebook, The Senior Travel Blueprint, is designed just for you. It's not a book of trends. It's a practical roadmap. I walk you through how to manage your medications safely, what to expect at the 2026 security checkpoints, and how to find those senior discounts you didn't even know existed, among so many other things. If you want the full experience, I also have the entire senior travel bundle. This includes the same senior travel blueprint I just mentioned, plus a 5-part video series where I talk to you face-to-face about mobility challenges and airport chaos. It even includes a gentle travel prep talk audio track for these moments, or those moments I should say, when you're feeling a little nervous before you embark on your trip. Grab both of them or just grab one from the link in the description. You'll thank me later. Now let's get back to the video, to rule number 10, which is checking your ID now. Real ID and passport requirements. When was the last time you really looked at the ID you hand over at the airport? Not for your name, but for that tiny little gold or black star in the corner. In the US, on May 7, 2025, the Real ID became the standard for domestic flights. If your driver's license doesn't have that little star at the top right-hand corner, or if it's marked not for federal identification or federal limit supply, it might still be fine for driving. But the TSA cannot treat it as your main ID at the security checkpoint. That hits a lot of seniors hard. Many people over 65, like I am, have stopped driving or never bothered to upgrade their license to Real ID. If that is you, then you need something else ready for US flights, like a valid passport. The problem is passport renewals can take weeks, sometimes even longer during busy seasons. So this is one of those things that you handle now, not something that you drag out the night before the flight. It doesn't work like that. There's another layer, though, to this, so listen closely. Most airports and airlines are using biometric checks at kiosks, boarding gates, and passport control. The system is comparing your face today to an old photo. If your passport picture is 10 years old and you've lost weight, had surgery, or simply aged in a way the facial recognition software struggles to acknowledge, it can stall the whole process for you. So how do you stop this from turning into a long, awkward wait? The fix is surprisingly simple. Carry a second ID with a more recent photo and let a human officer step in and clear you the old-fashioned way using manual screening. That means you have to reach the airport early. The Real ID is mainly a US thing though, but this whole AI scanning your face trend is spreading across Europe, Asia, and major hubs around the world. So when this video ends, do yourself a favor. Actually, open your wallet and look. Is there a star on your license? Is your passport still valid for the next big trip? If the answer is, I'm not sure, rule number 10 just paid for itself in all that stress that you saved. Because if your documents are solid, the rest of the rules that you've learned today, from digital check-in to wheelchair, medications, and seats, can actually do their job. If your ID fails at the front door, none of the other planning matters. They don't. All right, so we're on to rule number 11, and that's understanding what senior discounts really mean on airlines. That little senior option you sometimes see on airline websites looks tempting, right? But in reality, it's a lot trickier than it seems. For most big airlines, especially in the US and Europe, the senior benefit is mainly built into the ticket price and the fare rules. It usually doesn't mean every extra fee just melts away because you're a senior. Phone booking fees, change fees, agent assist fees, those don't suddenly disappear just because you're over 65. Take Air France as a concrete example. They sell a senior pass for about 49 euros per year. On paper, it sounds like a great upgrade. Better change and cancellation conditions on certain tickets. And it can be as long as you've bought the pass in advance. That's how I see it. And you're choosing fares that actually qualify for that pass. Even then, you still pay something to change or cancel the flight. It's only reduced and not erased. All right, just remember that if you're traveling for your next trip. Now, if in the US, airlines like United, Delta, and American sometimes offer senior fares on specific routes. Those usually mean a different ticket price or slightly different rules for older adults that are traveling. The senior part is in the fare itself, not in waiving every extra charge. If you're talking to an agent, make sure that you focus your question on the fare itself, not the service fee. The agent can explain whether that senior fare really gives you better change rules, or if the standard promo fare that you bought is actually the smarter deal. For most seniors, the real win is picking a fare that protects you if plans change because of health reasons or family reasons, even if that means ignoring a so-called senior deal that doesn't really help you. Make sure you do that. And now we have come to rule number 12. This is your golden years travel protocol for 2026, where we pull everything together so that your body, your medications, your connections, and your wallet all make it through the journey in one piece. Rule number 12 is your complete travel protocol for 2026, and that includes timing, circulation, technology, and insurance. Yes, finally here's your little survival kit for flying. These are the habits that make the whole trip actually match your body, your medications, your age, and your energy level. Yeah, we're going to give you something to make your flight better and your experience. First, you're going to fix your timing. Booking sites will happily sell you 35-minute connection and call it fine. For seniors, that's a stress test that you don't need. Aim for about 90 minutes on domestic connections and at least 2.5 hours when you're changing planes on an international flight, especially at big hubs like JFK or Atlanta. That extra time is what lets you walk at a comfortable pace, find a restroom before you board, handle a gate change, and still make the next flight without feeling like you just raced across the airport. Just hearing those numbers already feels a bit calmer, right? Of course. Next, you're going to protect your circulation. Use a 1-hour rule to do that. Don't sit completely still for more than about 60 minutes. When the seatbelt sign is on, keep your legs moving with small ankle circles and heel lifts. When it's off, that seatbelt, and it's safe to move around, take a short walk up the aisle to the restroom or wherever. Add proper compression socks in the 20 to 30 millimeters of mercury range. Drink steady water instead of round after round of coffee or wine, and you will have done your future legs a big favor. But it doesn't stop there. Let technology quietly work for you. At this age, a watch or phone with location sharing is a real backup. Turn on flight alerts and share your trip or live location with your family members. If you get dizzy in a restroom or on an escalator, that little device can trigger help and tell your family where you are even before you'd be able to flag someone down. Even though it's one small setting, it brings a lot of peace of mind to you. Now, for the money side, Medicare does not travel outside the United States, and many regular health insurance plans do not love surprise overseas hospital stays. For international trips, get travel medical insurance and look carefully at how it treats pre-existing conditions. Yes, read those fine prints. Most travel insurance policies check what's called a look-back window, often 60 to 180 days. The smart move is to pick a plan that offers a pre-existing condition waiver. And here's the catch. If you usually only get that waiver, you get that waiver if you buy the insurance soon after you book the flight, not the week before the departure. Yeah, that's how it is. I have a link to a travel insurance company, a reputable one, from the link in the description. So go check it out. Having insurance is all about flying in a way that fits 2026 and also fits your body. Safer connections, kinder habits for your legs, a bit of smart technology, which you probably can work with it, right? And the right insurance can turn a flight from one that wipes you out into the first chapter of a trip that you actually enjoy. If you're still watching this video, you're already ahead of most travelers your age. You're not just hoping that the airport experience goes smoothly anymore. You know what to say and what to check before you even lock your front door at home. Airlines and airports are not slowing down, and they're always changing. There are going to always be more apps, more scanners, and more fine print. But with a little planning and knowledge, your age becomes an advantage. You get the extra time, the better seat, the real help with medications and mobility, and you still have energy left to actually enjoy that trip. If this made flying after 65 feel even a little bit less stressful, make sure you hit that like button so that YouTube shows this video to more seniors like you and also their families. Subscribe if you want more deep dive guides like this, not just 30-second trip tips rather, that don't really explain anything. And tell me in the comment section below, what's one airport rule or gotcha moment that blindsided you in the past when you're flying? Share what happened and where it happened, and I'll use your real stories to create future videos. And mention your name to give you acknowledgement in that video. And to give you more control over your travel experience, I've designed the Senior Travel Blueprint specifically to help so that you can navigate these 2026 traps. For just $8.99, it's a simple no-fluff guide that shows you exactly what to pack, how to handle your medications, and how to breeze through airport security without the stress. And if you want the full experience, my Senior Travel Bundle, which includes the blueprint as well as 5 face-to-face videos where I walk you through these airport changes step by step, just grab it, all of them below. You'll get the Senior Travel Blueprint in that same bundle for only $14.99. So it's best to just grab the bundle. Don't let the airlines treat you like a number. You've worked hard for your retirement. Let's make sure that you enjoy it. Grab the blueprint or the bundle from the link in the description below. You'll be glad you did. And again, please subscribe to the channel for my upcoming video where I'm going to share other travel rules and changes that will affect seniors in 2026. If you haven't yet watched the first video, please go ahead. It's probably going to be somewhere above this video, and do so from the playlist where there are other videos that will help you. Remember to pack your medications, check that ID, give yourself more time than the app suggests, and I'll see you on the next flight or maybe in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.